we posted our first video on YouTube in November as a short, and we just used basically a couple of the TikTok videos that we had already made. So we threw them on there. Nothing much happened. Went on our way and doing more TikToks, and all of a sudden we noticed that those videos had picked up some kind of views, and we're getting multi-millions. So at that point, we kind of shifted gears and started doing more shorts for YouTube.
Welcome to the Video Craft Show presented by Video Husky. I am your host, John Santiago, and each week it is my job to interview content creators about their stories, strategies, and experiences of building an online audience through video. And so when the world came to a grinding halt in the spring of 2020, the Klem family found themselves in the same position as all of us, stuck at home and with plenty of idle time on their hands. And like many families, they use these months in quarantine to get closer together as a unit. But instead of baking sourdough bread or putting puzzles together, they took an unconventional route to family bonding. They started creating content. And thanks to their action-packed short-form videos that chronicle the competitive games they play against each other, this family of six has since become an internet sensation. A little more than a year later, their TikTok account has grown to over 1 million followers and generated more than 71.9 million likes. Meanwhile, their YouTube channel has amassed more than 2 million subscribers and close to 3 billion views. And this week on the Video Craft Show presented by Video Husky, I speak to two members of the family of six, Father Brian and eldest son Ethan Klem. I talked to them about what it's been like to experience such massive growth in such a short amount of time on YouTube and TikTok, how long it takes for them to create all of their content, including editing, and that includes their long form and short form content, and the value of working with someone who manages all of their inbound. They have a talent manager now, business manager, who is managing a lot of like the sponsorship deals that they get sent their way by different companies and brands. We talk about that and so much more. But before we jump into the episode, I want to remind all of you, if you can, make sure to hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. Helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And also sign up to our email list if you haven't already. You can do that at www.videocraftshow.com. It is the best way to get notifications and stay up to date with new episodes that we are releasing for the show. With that said, let's go ahead and toss it to my conversation with Brian and Ethan Klem of the Klem family. Brian and Ethan Klem, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Video Craft Show presented by Video Husky. We had some technical difficulties earlier today trying to land this conversation. It always happens from time to time with the internet, but we're here now, and I'm glad to have you guys on. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, hey John, we appreciate it, and apologize for the difficulties we had, but glad we could get back on.
Yeah, for those people out there listening and watching, there was an internet outage out there where they're recording from in their recording studio, and I'll ask you a little bit more about that in a moment. But usually when there are problems with connections, I usually just take it upon myself to feel like it's my fault in terms of like the platform or something like that. But
yeah,
it's always as long as we're able to get on the line and do this, that's ultimately what matters here. And so yeah. I'm glad that we're making it happen. So to get things started here, I'm really curious about obviously just the origins of your YouTube channel and your TikTok, and I mean everything that you're doing online these days. I've read and I know that part of that was just having all that idle time at the beginning of the quarantine period last year. So kind of walk me through just kind of the beginnings of creating content together as a family for yourselves.
Yeah, back in March of 2020 when the quarantine really started, we just kind of stuck in the house thinking of things to do. And one of the things that we thought of was just, I was going to try to make a TikTok account that could get more followers than my daughter's friends. So it was just kind of a competition, just a joke. And we made a couple videos. We made a sports video about a last second shot with Miami Heat that did well. And I think it surprised all of us how well they did. So we just kept making videos every day and just progressed through time. And then around the 4th of July, we put out our trunk challenge, who could stand close to the trunk without it hitting them in the nose. And that one, that night it went to like, I don't know, 7 million or something. And so we just focused on family challenges on then on out. And here we are. We posted our first video on YouTube in November as a short, and we just used basically a couple of the TikTok videos that we had already made. So we threw them on there. Nothing much happened. We went on our way and doing more TikToks, and all of a sudden we noticed that those videos had picked up some kind of views, and we're getting multi-millions. So at that point, we kind of shifted gears and started doing more shorts for YouTube.
Now, before you started doing this, like for you, Brian, as the father of the family, were you active at all at social media? Are you somebody who is posting a lot, like sharing stuff on different platforms, or not at all?
Not really at all. No, I've got like a Twitter account. I look at sports, and I had an Instagram account, post things about the kids or their birthdays or something like that, but definitely not a big social media picture person.
It's kind of like a running joke that sometimes we're like, could you imagine looking back like 2 years ago, like he was nowhere on social media, and now he's like always on his phone posting stuff.
Well, we can go even further than that. Like when people take pictures at home, like didn't even like really being in pictures, let alone
there's like no pictures of them,
let alone videos.
You can't find pictures of them from like 2 years ago.
Times have changed.
There were no, so you had no photos of yourself essentially online, and then 2 years, a couple years later, now you have like you have like millions of people paying attention to what you do on different platforms.
Yeah, unexpected to say the least.
I'm curious too. You know, you guys seem to be a very engaged with athletics, as you mentioned there. Like that first video that went viral was the video you did, a reenactment of Ray Allen hitting that game winner from like the 2013 NBA Finals. And Brian, you coach your daughter, right, on her basketball team. And I've seen a couple of like your hoops videos. We were chatting a little bit about basketball before we started the conversation. Yeah. Have you guys always just been a very competitive family?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. All the kids have participated in sports at one level or another. And we've got Taylor, who's still trying to figure out what she's going to do. But we're always competitive, whether it's board games or basically
everything.
You name it.
And then like
whatever.
Everyone's sore losers in the family.
Oh, we're terrible losers. Terrible.
Where does that competitiveness come from? Does that come mostly from your dad or from your? Okay, so it comes mostly from your dad.
Probably a little bit of both. But he's like. Probably mostly from him. Though.
Maybe, but Marcy is competitive as well. Trust me.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so for you, Brian, where does that come from originally?
I don't know. I just never like to lose. Yeah, I don't really, I don't know what the origins of it is, but everything seems a little more fun if it's a competition.
No, that definitely can be fun when you're, when you gamify things and play them as games, for sure. When you guys started posting initially on TikTok, what was the response to like the first few videos that you did?
I think the first one, if I remember right,
it was you like and Lauren doing some type of
Lauren was like twirling on me in some kind of way, and I think maybe the views that they were like 500, which
we thought was like crazy.
Everybody couldn't believe we could get 500 views. And then the next one, the next day we did the Ray Allen thing. And
I posted like a indoor basketball court check video where like I was just like showing off the basketball court.
Yeah.
And like both of those.
We posted them at the same time.
At the exact same time, yeah. And both of those like blew up.
Yeah, and by blow up at that time, we were talking about like, getting to 10K. Like we couldn't even believe it. That was at that time seemed like it could have been 1 billion views.
I was running downstairs, like, oh my god, you see how high the video's at? Like it's at 5,000 now.
Were you just getting like all these notifications on your phone? Like did you have like push notifications on that told you that your videos were blowing up?
Well, I think it's like we kept on getting back on TikTok, and then we'd get the little red box and it'd be 99 plus or whatever. So, yeah. And that, I think, started the habit of constantly checking the phone to see what the notifications were.
Gotcha. And Ethan, you were I imagine, I mean, as a young guy, like, you were pretty active on social media before.
Yeah, I was definitely. I'm not much of a poster. I never like posted anything, but I definitely like scrolled through stuff.
Definitely somebody who was like a lurker or something, right? Like somebody who was just kind of. That's just kind of like me. I'm always on Instagram, but I'm on Instagram or Facebook, and I'm never like posting anything. It's so much easier to consume content. But did you ever have like dreams or like aspirations of wanting to build like a big following on social media at any point in time?
I definitely did. Like, probably not like social media in general, but like specifically YouTube for me, because I was always watching YouTube through like middle school, high school. Still to this day, I watch like hours upon hours of YouTube, and like I've stopped watching some of the people I used to watch, because I used to watch a lot of like gaming stuff back in the day. I watch a lot of different types of videos now. But yeah, like, always a dream of mine to have a bunch of followers. I never thought it would happen, really. So it's pretty crazy.
What is it for you, like, as far as YouTube? Like, why is that like the platform that like gravitates to you the most versus, say, like Instagram or even Snapchat or whatnot?
I feel like I just like the video content form. Like, I like to watch like 10 minutes of like someone that I like talk about something that I want to hear. You know what I mean? Versus like, just Instagram, you scroll through pictures. Like, back when I was in like high school, even, there wasn't as much video content on Instagram. It was mainly just photos. Sitting on like Twitter, obviously, is just reading. I think it's just the video form. It's just more fun to interact with.
And then in terms of like TikTok now, of course, like you're doing video, but it's the shorter form content, pieces of content. And with YouTube, it's, you guys are blowing up there with like short form content. How do you feel about that? Like, just like the shorter form, the fact that shorter form content seems to just be very popular at this moment.
I'm definitely more of like the long form content watcher. I wasn't that, but I'm also, like, I say that, but I'm on TikTok like for hours scrolling through videos. So I guess it's fun. I would rather make long form content, but I also like to just make whatever the fans want to see. And if that's short form, then that's short form, Gotcha.
So as your channel, as your platforms, your audiences have blown up in the last year, has it felt disorienting at all? Just like the amount of attention that you've gotten on social media, or do you feel kind of disconnected to it?
Well, I mean, more surprising than disoriented, I think. In the growth, I know the YouTube went crazy from January till now, basically. But kind of seeing that grow on TikTok from 0 to, I don't know, in January, what we have 700,000 or 800,000, it kind of gave us a few months of getting used to it. So it wasn't really all at once, even though on YouTube it kind of was. So we had seen comments, dealt with things like that before.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I agree with that.
Have people recognized you at all at this point? Like, are you still kind of able to live anonymously for the most part? I mean, I know you mentioned that you live out in the countryside, right? Like, you live out in the country where you're a little bit further removed from like city limits and whatnot. But has there been any instances where people may recognize you as the Klem family when you've gone out like on vacations or anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few.
Twice, I think, right?
Yeah, I know Jackson and Anna were at a place,
Dave and Buster's,
and got recognized by somebody. And then at the county fair a couple weeks ago, there was a couple of kids wanted to come up and take pictures, which was cool. But generally, we're pretty anonymous.
Your YouTube channel has really surpassed your TikTok account, obviously, at this point. What has that surprised you at all in terms of why YouTube seems to be popping off a little bit more than TikTok? And what do you credit that to?
I mean, it's definitely surprised me. And, me not being into it as much as like Ethan was in terms of YouTube, I didn't really realize that much of the difference. But Ethan would always tell me, like, what do you say? Like 10,000 subscribers on YouTube would probably be worth whatever X amount on TikTok.
Yeah, I was basically just saying, like, if TikTok, it was when like TikTok was like rumored to get shut down. I was like, if TikTok gets shut down, we have to go somewhere else. If we can get a platform on YouTube, subscribers there are like worth more than TikTok, because I feel like a lot of times when you have the longer form content, also you have recurring fans that come back. But on TikTok, people tend to forget about you easier because there's so much short form content to scroll through.
Right. Yeah, that is the thing about TikTok, is that you can follow someone, but then like the algorithm is always like recommending you someone new to follow over time.
I think also we just on YouTube, in terms of the shorts, I think we happened to hit it right at the right time when they were just releasing shorts in other countries even before they really released it to everybody here.
Only in like India.
Yeah,
originally.
So. And at that time, and maybe still, India wasn't allowed to have TikTok or whatever. So people there were looking for short form content. It was only available really on YouTube. That happened to be the time we were putting out videos. And, as they rolled it out everywhere else, I think our timing was pretty good on that.
So Ethan, like, are you the one who's kind of like going into the analytics and like the data and stuff on your channel, trying to figure out how to like make the videos better? Or do you guys typically just kind of go off of what would be fun first and foremost in terms of like making a video? Probably
more of him that looks through analytics and like he'll, his mood wavers on like what the analytics look like. I also look at the analytics, but I don't let it affect me really. I kind of just feel like we should just make whatever we like to make, because it's obviously working right now anyways. But yeah, in terms of like analytics, he does all the short stuff. So he usually pays attention to more of like all the short form content on TikTok and the shorts. And then I usually make all the longer form content that we make on YouTube.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's the analytics are interesting. Like that kind of stuff's always been interesting to me. Not videos analytics in particular, but just money stuff and financial calculations and things. So I like to look at that stuff. But we've been spoiled in a way on YouTube, because when we had Beach Moneyball and we were getting, I don't know how many.
We were in the
2 million views or how many was it?
Well, we were getting 100 million views in 48 hours.
We were getting 100 million views in 48 hours. And so that and this lasted for a while. And so now if we have for 48 hours where we're at like 15 million views, I'm like, oh my gosh, what in the world? Because I'm thinking back to the time, and Ethan's like, hey, we've got 15 million views in 48 hours. And I was like, yeah, it's,
Man, that's kind of interesting to me, because I would have made like the guess that you, Ethan, would be the one who would be a little bit more worried about the analytics, but it seems to be that you're the one who's like kind of calming your dad down in terms of.
I try to.
Well, the thing is that, like I told you, I hate to lose. So now it's almost like the views are even a game. So I'm just like, we got to win those views somehow.
Gotcha. So, well, what do you do to kind of, I mean, aside from your son, like kind of, basically telling you, hey, dad, chill out. Like, don't worry so much about the numbers. Like, how do you like prevent yourself from getting so attached to the number of views and subscribers that you're getting that it doesn't like, end up driving you nuts?
Oh,
we have yet to see.
We're working on it. Work in progress.
Still working it's still new. Yeah. It's still new for you guys. Why is it that you think that this content that you're making, these challenge videos, are so popular? Like, what do you think that you've tapped into in terms of like just culturally with people around the world as to why this kind of stuff just hits very well?
To me, I feel like we're just kind of relatable. Like, you watched the house tour, so
yes.
Like, the thing was, Ethan said, nobody's picking up this house. We're not going to do the standard, try to make everything spotless and make everything look amazing. We're just going to do it how we are. And I think, in general, that's what comes across in our videos. We're just a normal family, competing against each other and trying to beat each other at things and having fun at the same time. And I think a lot of people probably enjoy watching that, I guess. That's my best guess.
Yeah, I mean, that sums it up for me. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know. I watched that. I watched the house tour video, and it made me laugh at the end when you guys showed your garden. It was just like,
oh my god,
just like weeds, like, hey, this is what it is.
I will say, I'll have to tell you that Marcy wasn't a huge fan of that video.
she wasn't particularly happy about
absolutely not.
She wanted it clean.
Yeah, that we had laundry that wasn't put away on the steps or what, whatever.
Yeah, you guys had like a couple laundry baskets still just like on the crates on the staircase. I'm curious too when it comes to that, like how do you guys decide, especially with like the longer form content that you're making that are kind of like that, like the behind the scenes type of stuff into your family? How are you guys deciding what to showcase and what not to showcase, right? Because I imagine like even though you've grown this platform for yourselves and you have like a big audience now, you still would like to maintain some semblance of your private lives, right? You don't want to share everything with the world, right?
Yeah, you got it.
I mean, I think that we just focus on the games more or less. I mean, the house tour was a little different because that's more of an inside look. But if it's just us competing, I don't think we're in danger of losing any of our privacy. I don't think right now.
I feel like the privacy just comes from like thoughts within my head. Like I don't share everything I'm thinking online, but like I'll be willing to show like everything in my room. Like, that doesn't really bother me. But
gotcha.
And we don't have a lot of things that we wouldn't mind showing really. It's just an ordinary house or doing ordinary things.
So when it comes to coming up with all these ideas for like these different challenges, like you guys are very resourceful. I would say just watching some of the videos where you've like turned empty Kleenex boxes into like baskets, and then you'll slide in like like a ball into them, or like even like a coaster like this, like how are you coming up with all of these things together as a family, or is there somebody else? Is there one person in the group that's just like, oh, why don't we do this with this kind of stuff?
I feel like it's a mix of stuff. Yeah. Like sometimes we'll just see other challenges on YouTube or TikTok and we'll just use those, or we'll put a twist on those. And then sometimes it's like he's come up with, I don't know who actually came up with it. He came up with a money ball. We're taking that credit, I think.
Yeah, we're trying to take the money ball credit.
Because I think we were the first people to do it. Because I'm pretty sure he came up with the idea. And then like the bottle flip tic-tac-toe, I feel like, I don't know how we created that either.
I think you did it first.
I don't know. I feel like it's just a lot of watching other content online and just either, switching it up a little bit or using that same formula.
And once we figured out the little challenges work, then you can make anything into a challenge. Like since we're doing we're in back to school time, so I was just telling Ethan that we should do. I don't know if you saw the video of the pencil catch where you put the pencils on the back of the hand and you catch them.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, so you just start out with a couple pencils on the back of your hand. You flick them up, you catch them. If you catch them, you move to the next round, you add a pencil, and so on until you get to probably 10 pencils or whatever. And then so we've done the pencil catch, and it did really good. And then we didn't do it anymore. But I'm just thinking, we need to do the crayons catch and glue sticks. And now every time we go to like we went to IKEA for something, and we came away with a cart full of basically whatever that we could like throw things into or any possible thing we could use. And we do that at basically anywhere, garage sale, Goodwill.
And with like the sliding videos where we just like slide stuff, you can slide anything. There's like unlimited amounts of videos. Just find something flashy and you can slide it across the table basically.
Yeah. So it's almost like it's like you have like a general. There are like these foundational ideas that you have, like foundational games, and you kind of just remix them, right? Like you'll have you'll do the pencil thing, but then you'll play a variation of that game with like a different item, or like the money ball game, you'll play a variation of that with like coasters, right? Like it's just kind of, and that allows you to essentially like make like unlimited loads of content based on like the same idea. Basically,
yeah. And we were just talking about just a few minutes ago about how we see a lot of people will do the exact same video a million times over and over. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we feel like we do that, but if we change up one thing about it, at least it's a little bit different, whether we're sliding a different object or throwing something, at something else.
Now, when you guys come up with all these ideas, like, are you like keeping a list somewhere? Like you have a notebook where some of this stuff comes to mind, or do you keep notes on your phone for like, oh, this might be a good idea for a challenge for us to do?
Probably a little of everything. I think Ethan's probably got some notes on his phone. I've got the old school notebook at home where I've got some things jotted down.
I feel like we lack in that. We have a lot of problems with preparation. Like
we're last minute sometimes.
Yeah,
we're last minute.
We just come up with stuff on the spot, especially like on our long form content on YouTube. Like I'm always like, we need to have a plan, but then it always ends up like the day of. Okay, what do we want to do? Let's figure it out. Yeah, and then we just do it that day.
So that's how it always ends up. When you guys are kind of operating when the inspiration strikes, you're just like, hey, let's play this game. Now, you'll then just post it the same exact day with a lot of these short form challenge videos that you come up with?
Usually not. Usually there's a backlog of things on the shorts. So like for instance on YouTube right now, we're scheduled out our posts through August 9th or 10th. So we've already got them set up to post at like 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. every day, 3 and 9 on the weekends until then. So this week I'll be working on editing like the following week. So we try to stay like a week ahead on the shorts. And then on TikTok, kind of the same way, but I've been superstitious lately about editing in TikTok. So I usually have several drafts that I can choose from for that night or whatever.
And that's specific to the shorts, just because like when we film shorts, we'll film like 10 of them in one sitting. Like we'll just pick a bunch of random stuff to do and film it. So we got a lot of stuff ready to go.
I see. So how long does it typically take you guys to film the short form videos that you end up posting?
Not very long. I'd say like, what night was it? It was the other day. Maybe it was Sunday night, I don't know. We filmed, I think, 14 short form videos in probably, hour and a half? Maybe like hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. So if we've got all the players ready, we can crank them out pretty quick because it's all just, generally it's one take. So like the bottle flip tic-tac-toe, I mean, we'll turn that camera on, play a game, stop it, start it, play another game. We play 4 games in a couple minutes and you got 4 videos that you can use whenever and just mix up the teams and things like that.
Now, does everything make the cut as far as like all the footage that you shoot, or is there a lot left on like the cutting room floor for you guys?
I'd say like for the short form, there's a little bit left. Like on some of we might do several rounds of something, and we don't post all the rounds. Or
like if we film like if we're doing bottle flip tic-tac-toe, we'll film like 4 in a row, and then maybe the 2 most exciting ones will be posted, and the 2 other ones that weren't as fun, we'll just leave them. Yeah,
and maybe they'll show up a month later, 2 months later. If we realize we hadn't posted them, throw it out there and see if people like it. Sometimes the ones that I think are going to be really great don't do as well as I would have imagined, and the ones I didn't think a whole lot of will go crazy. So it's hard to guess on that sometimes.
Right. Yeah, that's tends to be the case with all kinds of content that you put out there. You're like, why is this one working for the internet, and this one, which I spent more time on, not necessarily popping off like I had hoped. So with your editing process, Brian, for the short form videos, are you doing all of that on your phone? Do you use this? You said you kind of are a bit ambivalent towards using like the TikTok app these days to edit the videos. Are you using like a specific app on your phone for editing shorts, or?
Yeah, I've been using Splice on my phone, and I don't know if that's good, bad, or otherwise, but it's worked for me so far. So anything that goes on Instagram or on YouTube, as terms of a short, will be edited on Splice, and then anything that goes on TikTok is on.
And we've recently started looking at Adobe Premiere, and if we want to start using that,
Yeah,
because we were trying to figure out like how can we streamline, because it's quicker to edit it on your phone than Adobe, unless you have everything just like in like a library where you can just pull the names out just right onto the video, so it's real fast to edit it all. But
what have you heard about the short form editing? Have you have some insider tips on that?
I work with Video Husky. We're an editing company, and so we do like short form edits for people. But I think one of the things that could be a challenge if you're like switching over to, if you're going to start doing something on like Adobe Premiere, is that there's like a learning curve with it. Or even if you use like Apple and you were to use Final Cut Pro is a little bit easier than Adobe Premiere. It's like, I think it's like a step above. It's definitely a step above like iMovie, but there's still a learning curve with that. That's the one thing that I'd be mindful of if I were in your position, like switching over to like another editing platform, is that you got to get used to like the dashboard and the interface, and figuring out all the shortcuts and whatnot can kind of be just as it can be just as like time consuming as like editing the videos themselves.
Yeah. There's a lot of times I wish I could have those short forms edited on the desktop on a screen,
Yeah.
it's just easier to look at. I mean, that's why I was trying to teach them, because like it's just so annoying to use your fingers the whole time to edit the videos.
My old age, my eyes are getting bad again, and like I think it would just be nice to see this on the screen. So I don't know. We're thinking about that.
So you're editing. So either you're editing the longer form YouTube videos on your phone too with Splice?
No, I'm using Adobe Premiere.
Okay, you're using Premiere. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what's your process for that? Like, do you just kind of like dump all the files onto your desktop? Do you arrange them at all? Do you dump them into the timeline? I mean, in Premiere to start working with them? Do you kind of have some sort of process for that at all?
Yeah, so basically it's been recent, the process, because originally I was dumping it all on the desktop, and we were running out of space, and I hated it. And so we just bought like an external hard drive and an SSD. So now I put all of the video files into different folders on the SSD, and then I will import them to Adobe from there. And then when a video is complete, I'll take all the clips, the final version, the final thumbnail, and I'll put it all on the external hard drive for later, just in case we need it.
Gotcha. And so how long does it take you guys in total to edit your videos, both like the short form and then even the longer form videos?
Well, for me on the short form, like if it's a bottle flip tic-tac-toe where we've got 4 people playing, I could probably edit that in 5 minutes. It might take me longer to pick out the song than to edit the video. If it's something with scoring where we've got like all the kids and Marcy and me, 6 people, it may take 10, 15 minutes. It doesn't take me long. It's not real complicated. So it's just tedious. I try to do a lot of them at once.
And for me, I like to just split it up different like processes between days. Like I'll do one day where I take all the clips in and I'll edit them all down. And then like the next day I'll go in and, add all the effects onto the video. And then the next day I'll go back in and just do like final touches, like add the music and then export it out. So probably total, wait, how long? Like 5 hours, 6 hours? I don't know. Something like that.
We've been on this schedule where we're posting once a week on Fridays and on the long form videos, and we're trying to up that to twice a week. So that's kind of what we're working on.
I also take a while to do it because like I'll look up tutorials, start watching that, and I also have a problem where like I cannot sit in front of the screen and like edit for like even an hour straight. I'll have to like take a break and do something because I'll just get antsy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And
exactly.
I think we've both had some learning process on this, and we're still trying to figure out the best way to do some things. So I think that takes a little time. You know?
And I took some video courses in college before any of this stuff happened. Like I didn't know we were going to be doing YouTube, but yeah, I took like a couple classes. So I had like a general understanding of Adobe Premiere, but not like a whole lot.
Gotcha. You took like video production classes.
Yeah. Like I think like I took one video production thing and then one like audio class, and that's basically it.
So what in terms of these days, like learning how to like edit and basically all of the things involved with content creation, where are you learning about all of this stuff now? Are you just turning mostly to YouTube and looking up tutorials there for the most part?
Yeah, all YouTube. Find an issue, pull up a YouTube video. You could have the issue solved in like 5-10 minutes.
No, that's usually like the easiest way to learn these things is just to go straight to Google or straight to YouTube to figure out a solution, and you'll probably get a pretty good answer to whatever it is that you're asking. So I also want to go back a little bit to the analytics side of things. Brian, when you look at the analytics either on YouTube or TikTok, are there certain metrics that you're paying attention to more than others, and why so?
I know this is probably the wrong metric to pay attention to, but I'm so hung up on the views per 48 hours. Like I just can't stop looking at it. Like I'm telling you right now, if I click my phone, it's probably going to say 13,700,000. But I know that it's supposed to be, average watch time or something like that. But since I was into the shorts so much, I just can't get past that 48-hour total. I don't know. I wanted to stay on that list of top 50 in the United States, on views. And sometimes we're on there, sometimes we're not. So that's just kind of what I watch. But since we've been doing more of the long form, we're paying more attention to the duration of the views and things like that.
Audience retention,
and see where they drop off, if they drop off, and trying to get it to 60%. But, I think we have a lot of things to learn.
Yeah.
We got to go to, we went to LA for a vacation and got to meet a few people and talk to people that were doing this too. So that was helpful, I think, in a lot of ways, because we were really, before that, we're just kind of out here on our own.
Like just kind of really out there in the middle of Indiana. Creating stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely not a lot of like family content creators in Indiana.
I don't know any content creators. I don't know any.
Yeah, I mean, when how long were you guys in Los Angeles for? Like, it was just, that trip was just purposely for like vacation, but you guys had an opportunity to meet with some other people, because that's obviously like this hub, in terms of where people like, aside from moving there to be in movies, it seems like these days a lot of people are moving to Los Angeles to become content creators in general.
Right. Yeah. We had a week between like Lauren's basketball tournaments where we were free. So we decided at the last minute we would fly to San Francisco and drive down the coast to LA. So I think we got to LA on a Friday. Ethan flew in on Friday, and we stayed from Friday to Tuesday morning.
The trip was like split half. Like the first half was just them, and they were there for vacation stuff. And then I flew in just for the LA part, because that was where we were going to start doing some actual YouTube, and it was mainly for YouTube stuff.
Yeah, that's all it was really. It was meeting some of the like the management team that we have and things like that.
Gotcha. So how did you get connect? So in terms of like the management that you work with now, did they just end up reaching out to you cold, much like how I did via email and just said and pitch you on the opportunity?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And before that time, I mean, we had gotten a lot of different emails from people, and sometimes you don't know which ones are real and which ones aren't real. And this one happened to feel pretty real, but
we thought he was fake for like a week. We were very skeptical.
Yeah,
and we were like, my mom was like super paranoid about it
because you're sitting in the middle of nowhere and somebody's talking about going to have an agent, and so we're just like, oh, is this real? But it turned out it was, and it's been, he's been great. And we found out we were recommended to him by one of his clients. So we actually got to meet them, and they were telling us the story about it. So it's all worked out really well so far.
Was that person or that other creator that recommended you to your manager, was that somebody that you got to meet out in Los Angeles, or was it somebody who you connected with just through making stuff online?
It was connected to us in Los Angeles. It's the Onyx family, and we got to meet them and make some videos with them on Sunday, I think, that week, and just trade stories and hear how they've gone through, because they've been doing this for several years now and done really well.
So what were some lessons that you learned from them, like in terms of how to handle like all of this attention that you guys have gotten and like the growth of your platforms, and even just some recommendations on kind of how to, surf these waters, so to speak, in terms of becoming, influential on the internet?
I think their message was just to kind of enjoy what you're doing, and just enjoy it and appreciate it and have fun with it, and don't get worried. Like they don't read their comments. We read our comments and try to reply, but their feeling was, don't worry about it. Just put out things that you like and go on. And they talk about branding and things like that they've been pretty good at doing.
So I want to circle back too on the management side, like finding your manager, and just even in general, like all the messages that I imagine you guys get these days in your inbox. How do you go about sussing out like, the legit from like the illegitimate, in terms of all that outreach you guys are getting these days?
Well, I think some of the emails go ahead and you can tell what they are, like they're not legit or they're questionable. It's really obvious. The other ones, the management team just kind of goes through them and answers them and negotiates or whatever with, and kind of vets each person in some way, which has been nice, because before, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it just kind of gets quite overwhelming or something to have like an inbox of, hundreds of unanswered messages that there might be some opportunities, but you might not necessarily know which ones are legit or not.
Yeah, and I'm sure that we've missed some along the way. Surely, you just don't know, and even more than that. But before we got with them, it was hard to even know what the value of a video was. For our amount of subscribers or followers or whatever platform you're talking about. So that's been nice to kind of have somebody to lean on in terms of like pricing and negotiation and things like that.
Yeah. Have they educated you or taught you things about like CPM rates and whatnot for your niche and all those kinds of things?
A little bit, but we haven't gone into a whole lot of detail in terms of CPM, but just more or less in terms of like TikTok video pricing or one video like pricing.
Gotcha. So in terms of like now getting to work with like companies and brands, obviously you have like that first layer of defense with, you know, your management team who can kind of filter and figure out, hey, this might be a good opportunity, this is not a good opportunity, let's not even pass it along to them. But once the opportunity does land on your table and you guys have an option to either take it or leave it, you know, what are you guys looking for in terms of working with like companies to you know, in terms of promoting or sponsoring them?
Well, I think for us it would be something that we would utilize. You know, we wouldn't want to do something that would just be totally off what a family channel would do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes we get emails about like air purifiers,
Yeah,
which I don't even know how we would
or
make a promotional bit about an air purifier.
if somehow we can make it into a challenge, like we're down for it. But or if it's, you know, an app or something that we might use or whatever, you know, that'd be fine. But if an air purifier or some strange thing, that we'd probably have a hard time like feeling like we could really sell it. Like we want to make an authentic video. We know it's a sales video, but it'd like to feel like it's not. That would kind of be my goal.
Yeah. Are there brands or companies out there that are like, you know, if you had the opportunity that you would want to work with them, and if so, like, would you guys go out and actively reach out to them yourselves and say, hey, you know, we want to do something with you. We have, you know, X amount of subscribers and followers on TikTok and YouTube. Maybe there could be something here.
Yeah, and I think that's what the management team kind of works on, to reach out to some of these places to see if they can get us some things instead of waiting for things to just roll in on email by chance. Mm-hmm. But I think being a family channel, it opens up like a wide range of anything from clothing to, you know, any type of product, really. I think we're pretty well positioned for that.
What's been your favorite collaboration thus far in terms of working with the brand or company?
I mean, Keebler sent us jerseys and stuff.
Yeah, we did one with Keebler for the Space Jam movie not long ago. So they sent jerseys for everybody in the family, so that was cool. Plus a big giant box of cookies. So that was a bonus. But you know, really every company that we've worked with we haven't had any problems at all. It's, you know, everybody's been great to work with and things.
So at this point, like for you, Ethan, is this something that you're kind of focusing on like full time, is like kind of running this content creator business on behalf of your family, or are you also doing something else as far as like work? I know, Brian, you run like a laundromat, correct? And something else, like there was another business that you, dry cleaner, as well. Like, so what else are you guys doing as far as like work is concerned?
Well,
I was in college, and I just like dropped all my classes for the next semester to just focus on this for at least a year, because like it's the dream goal really to make this a career. So I mean, I have to give it a shot.
Yeah. And
plus I'm kind of a hater of college in a way, just because I feel like it's just like what we were talking about with like, you can learn everything through YouTube.
Hey man, look, I graduated college in 2009, and nowadays, like, I'm somebody who kind of feels the same way as you do for like your generation. I'm like, man, you could just actually study everything on the University of YouTube or Google and learn what you want from there. So I don't blame you for feeling that way.
Hey, I graduated in 95 and I feel the same way too.
I think it depends on the major, especially. But like I was doing like web design and development, but like you can learn any coding language on YouTube. But also I just, you know, I did it for like a year and a half or so. I don't know. I liked it at the beginning. Didn't like it as much now. And I felt like I was just in it to try and get the degree in the end. So it was a pretty easy decision to just try and do this full time if I can.
I think from the parent perspective here on this, like if this decision was made with like no YouTube channel or none of this, that'd be a little tougher. Where we are right now, I feel like I'm glad about it. So
yeah, I mean, with millions of followers, just between like TikTok and YouTube alone, is you guys have got a pretty good foundation set, to fall back on versus, like you said, somebody who might be leaving college to pursue a dream, but it hasn't even really been tested or validated yet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but you're still running your laundromat and dry clean businesses, right? And are those how intensive is that as far as like in terms of work and whatnot relative to like the work that you're doing for YouTube and TikTok?
It's hit and miss. Right now, I'm sure Ethan can verify, I probably edit more videos time-wise than spend at the dry cleaners.
He used to go to work like every single day of the week, Monday through like sometimes Friday too, right? And then even Sundays. But now he'll go to work like Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
But that's because of COVID also. Just less people.
COVID hasn't been kind to the dry cleaning business in general. Because of the office workers staying home and things like that. But laundromats aren't really. I'm not really involved there on a day-to-day basis as much. So the things that I do have let me coach my kids' teams and be available for that. So it hasn't been hard to take time to do videos and things. So it's working out so far. Very
cool. So tell me more about this, like this studio that you guys have set up that you basically changed from. It was batting cages originally set up there to now you're using that for filming a lot of these challenges and these videos that you're doing. How far is it close to your house or is it a little bit ways out?
It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so it's not bad. Yeah.
This is like we live in Franklin, Indiana, and so this is in the city, basically city limits, and we live 5 minutes out, so not far. But this is actually hooked on to the laundromat. So at one point in time, like many years ago, like my high school years, this building that we're sitting in was a pool hall, and it was attached to the laundromat. You could walk through. And when we bought the laundry several years ago, this was like a storage thing. So we turned it into 2 batting cages for my kids' teams and used it for many years. And then we hadn't been using it for a couple of years, and we started doing this, and our internet was terrible at home. So we bumped the internet up and took the batting cages down. But like, I don't know if you can tell, but in like gyms, this padded,
you have like
the padded walls.
Yeah,
like you can imagine in a basketball gym. But that's what we had on the walls for the the baseballs would hit and they could bounce off without causing problems. But
yeah, there's holes all over the wall up top.
Yeah, if we were to show you like the top of the ceiling and stuff, there's.
But this place has kind of been a fail in terms of like content creation. We're basically using it because our internet's so bad at home that we have we would not be able to do this podcast if we were at our house. That's how bad our internet is.
It's a great building though, but like I told you, I was superstitious, and we started making some videos here, and they weren't doing as well. So of course I blamed it on the fact that they were at the studio rather than maybe the videos weren't as good. So I don't know.
Yeah, we stopped making. We kind of just have like some. It's just like barren. There's like a lot of open space.
It's probably like 60 foot by 40 foot open space, carpeted.
And we have a desk.
Yeah, we've got one desk
and a couch.
We've got a TV.
Desk, couch, and TV, and that's basically it.
So, and the most valuable thing is just to go there to upload things, essentially, with the internet.
Exactly. But you saw what happened to us when we started this podcast. We've got one job today to come and make it, and it lasted 5 minutes, and then our great internet here failed us.
And the funny thing is, a lot of times when we try, because we did some like live streams back in the day, or I did with my friend. We did like a few gaming ones, which they're not on the channel anymore, just because we wanted to clean it up. Like we don't do very much gaming. We don't do gaming on the channel. So we're like, well, I might as well private those. But every single time we would start a live stream, we would have some sort of issue, whether it was like the cam link wasn't connecting the camera. It wouldn't show us, or a microphone stopped working. It always happened. On this podcast, we got in here. I came early at like 10. I set everything up.
Oh, man.
We went to Best Buy to get like an audio splitter so we could both have headsets. And then we had it all ready to go. And of course that happens like 2 minutes in.
And we both literally sat here and your picture went like dark or something. And we're looking at the screen and we're thinking it's on your head. And then he's like, well, we have no internet here whatsoever. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, for everybody out there listening and watching, we referenced this in the beginning, but I always tell guests when I hop on, I have like this interview checklist. Actually, like the way that my setup is, I have you guys on like a monitor, and then I have my laptop screen in front of me. So I'm working with 2 monitors, but I have like notes to the left of the person that I'm talking to on the other window. And I always tell them, hey, there's a possibility that the video might drop. And if it does, just keep talking because it's fine. Like it's recording, it's uploading on your end. And there have been a couple times where that has happened. But thanks to the magic of editing and post-production, nobody actually knows that has happened. But I felt so bad when it happened because I had told them, I said, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. And then, it's almost like false advertising, right? That
we couldn't believe it. We just couldn't believe
it. Well, it worked out. We've even been able to chat here for close to an hour now about, all things related to your journey as content creators. And so kind of to wind things down here, like looking ahead into the future, as you mentioned, Ethan, you're kind of focused on this for the most part for at least like the next year or so, trying to get this off the ground and really get it moving. But first of all, what goals do you guys have now in terms of accomplishments that you want to achieve as creators? Because I know, I was reading the Tube Filter interview that you guys did. Your goal at that point was like, yeah, we'd like to get up to 1 million subscribers on YouTube and maybe, what was it, like 1 billion views? Yeah. And here we are like several months later, or not even that long. That interview went up in March of this year, and we're talking here in August. And now you've doubled that. You're already over 2 million subscribers on YouTube. And you're already closing in on like 3 billion views on YouTube. So like, what's like the goal now? Like in terms of all of that, in terms of like those metrics and whatnot.
I feel like the number one goal for YouTube right now is like getting more people engaged with the long form content that we're creating. Because obviously it's hard now because our channel is mostly shorts. It's hard to get these people to go from shorts over to the long and just like, keep watching as we post different long videos each week. They don't transfer over as easily.
Yeah. And my goal might not necessarily be a number in terms of subscribers or views, but I'd just like to see that thing just keep going up, positive progress. I know that it's unrealistic to imagine that we're going to gain, 2.4 million in the next 3 months, but if we can keep that graph going up, and like he said, the main thing is try to get better and put out better long videos.
Yeah. So in terms of like the long video content, I mean, where do you see like the theme of your channel and the platforms that you've been building up for yourselves on social media going? Like, do you think? I mean, let's like fast forward like 2 years or 3 years from now, like, do you think that you'll still be doing predominantly challenge videos, or are there some like ideas down the pike in terms of like, creating different kinds of content that may not necessarily be, featuring games and whatnot, but something just different, general? I
guess I have different things that I'd like to make, but like that would be on probably a separate channel, I would say. And then in terms of like the Klem Family channel, I guess like challenges, but also I feel like we need to focus also more on like showing our personality. So any type of video that would be more, I guess, like, you know, talking to people or interactions between the family instead of playing the games. Because a lot of these games will just have, you know, the game happening, but you don't really get to know us that much. It's more or less just like, you know, who's going to win.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the short form videos, especially the TikToks with the music over the background, you know, we film them in silent, you know, so switching to the long form where we have to talk, and like, we're not actors or anything. So, you know, and we're not, in general, we're not like huge personalities in some way. So
most of us are super shy. Like, I wouldn't even have done this podcast a year ago, probably.
So these are all things that I think that we're working on, and hopefully will come with time. And just as long as we can keep coming up with decent ideas, we'll just keep making videos. I think another thing I think is we've got such a wide range. Like, we've still got an 8-year-old, so we've got just unlimited things that we can continue to do in terms of challenges and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's something that I find interesting. Like, even when I talk to YouTubers, like I one previous guest that I had on this show, he's been doing YouTube for like 10 years now, and he's evolved as a person, right? Like, he was I think he was like around the same age as you, Ethan. Like, when he started his YouTube channel, he was still in college, and now he's like in his early 30s. And so the stuff that he was making back then, your interests change, and like what you want to do change. Like, you just change as a person overall. So it's always kind of interesting to kind of think about that, you know, if you're playing like the long game here when it comes to YouTube.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely. Times change and people change. It's going to be interesting to see where it all turns out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Video Craft Show presented by Video Husky. This was fun to chat with you, and I'm gonna be watching. You know, I find your videos quite entertaining. Like, I know I asked you the question earlier as to why you think your videos are so popular, but personally for me, as someone who's gotten to see some of the content, like, I can see why. It's just like, it's like a minute or less of just like jam-packed action and competition. So I can see why it's gravitating with so many people out there. And I thank you again for coming on to chat with me.
Oh yeah, anytime. And thanks for having us.
Thanks again to Brian and Ethan Klem, 2 members of the Klem family, for joining me on this episode of the Video Craft Show presented by Video Husky. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend, share it over text message, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, wherever you can share. It helps us out, obviously, to spread the word about the Video Craft Show to everyone who would enjoy the show. Secondly, want to also remind you, if you want to get the show notes for this episode, visit videocraftshow.com, where you can find the complete show notes for this podcast and all the podcasts in the Video Craft Show archive. And if you are struggling to structure or organize your ideas, we have got a resource for you. Get a copy of our free scripting template. Doing so can help you do just exactly what I said: structure and organize your ideas in a much more efficient manner, and save you time from editing and filming in the process. All you have to do is scroll down to the description below if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, and click the link to sign up to our email list, or you can go to videocraftshow.com and sign up to our email list there, and the template will get delivered straight to your inbox right after you sign up. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Leave a comment, hit the like button as well if you are enjoying the episode here on YouTube. And finally, got to shout out my team for helping me to produce the podcast. Of course, as always, Nikki Vicente producing the show, Ingrid Saraiba, the editor, and Paulo Lopez handling all things graphics for the Video Craft Show. If you are looking to get your videos edited to look just like this, then visit videohusky.com to learn more. We deliver a first draft of your video in 1 to 2 business days. Yes, that's right. We are timely and efficient. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Video Craft Show presented by Video Husky. Make sure to tune in. We will have another interview and another guest. Until then, we'll be seeing you. This is John Santiago signing out for the Video Craft Show presented by Video Husky.